one job, and that's to find a way to raise awareness for this woman's technology and make it as accessible and affordable as possible around the world.
And one of those very, very important things which has happened in the last probably 4 days is energy enhancement system, which we have put in our meditation center.
Well, it's really great to see the technology in a place where people are already coming for spiritual work. They're going to come, they're going to close their eyes, they're going to say mantras or sing mantras, they're going to meditate. They're coming here to have a communication with God.
So this is the real, suppressed science, so to speak. This is not, what you're going to find in physics schools, because this is the quantum physics. It's your biophysics.
The life we live is God's gift to us. The way we live our life will be our returning gift to God.
I want you to look behind me and tell me what you see wrong with this picture. Dilapidated homes, people that are working and sleeping in the same place that they work, only not a work from home situation, a situation of poverty, a situation where their families are living in poverty, where nobody knows what tomorrow holds. You see, the world that we live in today is filled with disease, it's filled with corruption, it's filled with darkness, it's filled with a lot of problems because over 50% of our world's population is living under the poverty line. And yet there are people that are doing fine and saying, well, I'm okay, so it really doesn't matter. That's an even bigger problem with the world that we live in. Now I want you to imagine a world that looks like the exact opposite of what's behind me. A world of people helping each other. A world of people coming together and putting out a helping hand when they see somebody in need. A world where all human beings, all life, has its birthright of shelter, food, and water at the bare minimum. Children, women, men, everybody. Many people say, well, that's impossible because there will always be homeless people, there will always be poverty, there will always be crime. And my question is that true? Is there a way where this world can change as a whole? Where at the bare minimum we can all have what we need to live? And the answer is yes. The way that we get to that point is very simple. We stop thinking only about ourselves directly, and we start understanding that we are here to help each other. Even more importantly, helping each other is helping ourselves because we're not isolated from one another. Just like the cells in the body, there are trillions of them. But if one doesn't work with the other, there will be an issue. The world that we live in today is one where humanity is literally living in a coma of awareness. Imagine you had an infection in your pinky toe, and you said, well, it's far away from my heart and my brain, so I'm not going to take care of it. Well, what would happen? That infection would spread. Eventually, it would take over your body. You'd get some form of disease, and if you really don't do anything, you'll die. The same goes for the world as a whole. There are many, many, many parts on this planet, parts of this planet, that are experiencing that disease in many ways. Physically, spiritually, all of the above. And we are not doing enough about it to make a change because we're only thinking about ourselves. So I ask each and every one of you today, as you watch this, keep in mind what your purpose is on this planet, why you came here in the first place. You didn't come here for yourself alone. You came here to help yourself by helping others because those are one and the same. You came here to give after all that you've received, no matter what it is that you've received. And you came here to continue experiencing that flow of abundance. in whatever way you choose to experience that. We will know that we've succeeded in the purpose of why we came here in the first place when we can look around ourselves and no longer have a background of this. When we can look around ourselves no matter what country you're from, no matter what part of the world you come from, and we can all confidently say, we have what we need, and we're here to support each other and love each other. That's my purpose, that's my work, that's my mission, and I invite you on that journey with me to make that a part of your mission as well. After all, it's why you came here. Now imagine a world of unity, of health, of wealth in all ways, of harmony, of love. One without all the nonsense that we're seeing in the world today. There will come a day, I promise you, that the world will not look like this anymore. It will look a whole lot better. And we can bring that day upon us a whole lot sooner if we simply do what we came here to do, which is give, love, unite, and help wherever necessary. We're about to take you on a journey to show you exactly how we can get to this new world through actions that we're taking, but most importantly, to show you how we can all collectively make a change by taking that action. So I invite you on this journey with us today, and I look forward to seeing what you do after experiencing what the journey has to offer. Let's go back 6 months, I believe, maybe 5 months ago I met you, and we were sitting together in an amazing man's home, and we had a conversation for about an hour, and in that conversation, I asked you if it would be okay to bring the energy enhancement system technology invented by Dr. Michael herself, who's sitting right in front of us in this room, to this ashram and help bring it as one of the first projects, humanitarian projects in this case, to help bring it to this ashram and many others moving forward for free. And your answer was, of course. My question for you is, why did you say yes at the time? What did you see? What vision did you have that allowed you to say, go for it, bring it to the ashram?
I think a lot of scopes are there. We can help the humanity. Every day, 150,000 people are coming here. Every day, that place here in Tirupati. So, if that people start to come here, and if you are charging energy to them, then 150,000 people start to benefit from here.
I see you continue developing this ashram. There's a lot going on this property. There's a beautiful meditation room, massive, that's being built. I see you guys are building another temple also. What are your plans for this ashram in the future. And I ask that also because a lot of people are going to start coming here now that they know that the technology is here as well. So what can people expect over here when they come, in addition to, free access to the energy enhancement system technology?
If you want to get 100% success, means your outer journey and inner journey, it must be balance. If the worldly journey, if you are having, you can earn the money, you can become the millionaire, billionaire, and whatever you want, the worldly life, you can get the success and you live happily. But if you want to celebrate your life forever, then you have to know inner journey too. So here we are sharing with them, we have to teach them how to balance that, both. And once you become to know how to balance this both journey, you'll become 100% success. And your life change. Your life will become Buddha life. You'll become the life of the Jesus. You are start to living the 100% conscious life, super conscious life. Whatever you are living subconscious life, not pure conscious life. So just you subconscious become the conscious, pure conscious, super conscious, divine conscious, super divine conscious, super divine consciousness. So we have to make the divine consciousness level.
Gurudev, do you have any sort of, if you could give one message to everybody listening to this right now, one message of an action that everybody can take to make their lives better lives and make this world a better place, what would that summarized message be to the world?
The life we live is God's gift to us. The way we live our life will be our returning gift to God. And our life serve two ways, will either serve as a warning or as an example for next generation to make your life example for next generation. So be energetic, charge your energy and help others to charge their energy. Give energy to others. Get success and help others to be success. Be peace, give others to peace, help others to peace. Be happy and help others to be happy.
Growing up, I had everything that you could imagine. I've had everything that I wanted. I never had to worry about where my next meal was coming from. I never had to worry about any form of lack, but I want to share a little journey of how I got to where I got to today and, how this all really came about. Not just to share my story, but to inspire each and every one of you as well, based on where you are at in your life specifically. So I come from a real estate family. My whole life, that's what I did. That's what I knew. I was being groomed to take over the family business, to retire my father and do great things with it and make it bigger than it already was. Age 18, I went to college. I was there for about 3.5 years, finished early, worked full-time in the family business the whole time, and all in all had about 5 years in the family business. My father was on his way out. I was on my way kind of taking over, doing that whole thing. And again, it always just, there was this feeling of a void within me that it didn't matter, how much money we were making or how much I could travel or how much luxury I can experience. That just wasn't what satisfied me. I needed to know that whatever work that I was doing, whatever job I was doing, was not just helping me, but was helping the world as a whole. So there came a point where I had to make a very, very difficult decision with a huge leap of faith that, again, I don't regret because it brought me to an incredible place, but there was a very big point of uncertainty that I just had to jump into blindly. And there were two options in front of me. Do I take the journey, the path that I know is certain, that I know I'm good with, that I know is set, that I know I never have to worry about what tomorrow holds, that I could live my life in the way that I was used to and beyond? Or do I take the other path where I don't know what the other side holds, but what I do know is that it satisfies me? So I called my parents. I asked them for a meeting. I said, we need to talk about something serious here. And it's serious because my whole life was leading to the point that I was about to tell them is not gonna happen. And it like makes me emotional talking about it. I'm emotional because I'm happy, by the way. And we had this meeting, and I had to tell my father. I had to tell him, I'm not doing what you dreamed that I would do my whole life. And I was crying, and it was hard. It was really, really difficult. But I knew that I had to do it. And my father gave me everything in my life, so I didn't want to fail him in any way. And that gave me even more fuel and even more power and even more energy to move forward full force in this work that I'm doing today. And I knew that not only am I doing it for my own satisfaction, not only am I doing it for the world as a whole, but I'm doing it for my parents because they gave me everything and I want to make them happy. So the decision was made. I went on my own. I had no security of where anything was going to come from next. And I didn't want it either. And it was that leap of faith that I took without a pillow to fall back on. And even my mom said, she's like, Jason, why don't you at least take this along the way till you figure it out? It's a beautiful vision you have, but we don't know. And I said, no, because if I take that from you, then I know that if I fall, there's a pillow there. I want to know that if I fall, I'm going to die. That's how extreme I went into this. There is no other option. There is no other side to this. There is no such thing as failing. It's not an option. It's not a possibility. It's not even a potential. And it was with that vision and that just whatever you want to call it, that gave me the power to go through very, very tough times over the past 4 years in the best way possible, because it brought me to exactly where I wanted to get to and a whole lot further. I mean, look where we're sitting today. So I'm sharing this with all of you because I want to make it very apparent that I also come from the normal world. I'm not different than you. You're not different than me. We all have the same issues, the same obstacles, the same problems that are really blessings in disguise. They're opportunities. They're our greatest gifts to show us where we can go next. That path that I decided that I chose to exercise my free will in a way that made it harder but better for me is something that we can all do in our own way. And that leap of faith, if I didn't take it, I would have been in the same exact place, which was not a bad place, maybe for my body, but it wasn't a good place for my soul. So with what I'm sharing today, the first 22, 23 years of my life when I was in that world, you know, working in the business and being groomed for that whole thing, I don't regret any of that for 1 second, because it gave me the tools that I needed to do what I'm doing today. But there comes a point where you keep moving forward. And that's how I got here today. That's why I'm sitting here today. And all in all, it took faith, not knowingness of what you can see, maybe knowingness of what you can't, but faith in knowing that when you follow your heart, when you follow what feels right, even if it's hard, with your relationships and your connections of what's in front of you, you will succeed, because in my opinion, that's called doing God's work. Just like there are bad organizations in the world, corrupt corporations in the world, corrupt individuals in the world that do things that aren't best for humanity as a whole, but are more selfishly oriented decisions, the exact opposite exists as well. So just like there's the bad, there's also organizations and individuals and entities out there that are doing incredible work to help counterbalance all the darkness that we're seeing in the world. 4 years ago, roughly, it was in June of 2018, my life changed because an individual from one of those organizations approached me, completely changed my life forever. Again, completely in alignment with my purpose and my mission, my work of what I'm doing today. This individual is a part of an organization called TLS. TLS stands for the Light System. Physical organization, very powerful organization, here to, for lack of a better sentence, make this world a better place. That's the simple way of explaining why they're here. But at the same time, they're not here to save you. They're not here to save humanity. They're not here to be saviors, because if we want to save anything, we have to save ourselves. The savior complex of externalizing our power is something that keeps us in this, regime of power and control overall. What we need to do is understand that only we can save us. Organizations like the one that approached me, TLS, is here to assist us along the way, but they can only do things in response to us. So basically in April of 2022, I held a virtual summit. It was a virtual conference. A lot of doctors, leaders, really, really powerful people came together to be on this summit called The Shift on our platform called Unified TV. And a friend of mine, Scott McKay, was interviewing Ty and Charlene Bollinger, another incredible couple doing incredible things in the world. And a conversation came up about this doctor that Scott was seeing. Her name was Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. Now, my family was watching this interview at the time on the virtual summit, and something that Scott said piqued their interest regarding this doctor and her technology. Now we know it's called the Energy Enhancement System. I never met Sandra at that point. I never heard about this technology up until that point. And my family called me, my father called me actually, and he said, "What's this all about?" And the reason why he was asking was because my aunt, we found a 12.5 centimeter cystic fibroid in her uterus. And the doctors were saying, "You need to get surgery. It's a problem, it's dangerous. We got to take care of it right now." And coming from a family of, somewhat alternative medicine in terms of how we live and how we go about our lives, we didn't want to do that unless it was the last resort. So they said, well, let's look at other options. And Dr. Sandra Rose Michael and her technology, the Energy Enhancement System, was something that my aunt decided to try. She went and sat in this machine for 4 hours. 4 hours later, everything was gone. And I'm looking and saying, what's going on here? She had a whole journey after that. Today, she is doing incredibly well. Now, I'm a skeptic at heart. I want to make that real clear over here. I like seeing things. I like tangible evidence. So I said, what's going on here? I want to see more. Maybe it was too good to be true. Maybe it's a coincidence. And then my sister's dog had a 4 centimeter cyst in his neck. 6-7 pound dog. That's really big for a dog that small. We put him in the system for 3 hours. For 3 nights. Gone. Disappeared. So now it's happening to human beings and animals. And I'm looking and saying, what's going on? I want a call with this doctor. I got on a call with Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, and we're talking. And kind of nonchalantly, she just drops, by the way, the organization TLS that you work with, they approached me back in 2011. Now that's about 7 years before they approached me, and I'm looking and I'm saying, what's going on here? I made a call just to see if everything was, legitimate and real in terms of what she was sharing with me, and it was. So then things got real interesting because I wanted to learn more in terms of what her experiences were and what was going on, because it's not every day that I meet somebody that says they approached me, X amount of time ago, whatever it is. So we started talking, and then the organization TLS came in, they said, listen, we want you to go and interview her, and you have one job, and that's to find a way to raise awareness for this woman's technology and make it as accessible and affordable as possible around the world. And I said, okay, I'll find a way. Now at that time in my life, and this was only, less than a year ago, At that point, I was tired. I was traveling a lot, I was talking a lot, I was losing my voice from all the work that I was doing around the world. And politely and respectfully, I said, listen guys, I'm tired, let's push this. And at first they said okay, and then they kept pushing and pushing and pushing and encouraging, and they said, go and do this. Go to Las Vegas and interview her. Dr. Michael lives in Las Vegas, that's why they wanted me to go there. And it came to a point where they pretty much, put me on a plane, got me a hotel in Vegas, and they said, go in and out, just go and do it. I chose to make a trip with my father out of it. We said, we'll make it fun, we'll do the interview, and I'll come back home. I went and I did my job, and my job was to interview her, raise awareness, and again, find a way to make it accessible and affordable for all in light, and all because of what TLS was asking me to do. So out of respect to them, I said, no problem, let's do it. In that interview, I put a call to action. It was maybe 30 seconds, even less, where I just dropped a sentence at the end of the interview, and I said, everybody, whoever is watching, if you have the means, if you have the resources to bring this technology, to purchase this technology, and open a public center and make it affordable for people instead of just the rich having it in their private homes, please do that. The next day, Dr. Michael and her team received over 70,000 emails, and that's where this whole thing started. So after that interview came out and the EESystem team received, tens of thousands of emails, they were completely overwhelmed in the best way possible, and everything really started. But my personality, the type of individual that I am, is I always like asking, how can I bring more value to this? How can I align my mission, my purpose, my work, my intentions in the world of why I'm doing what I'm doing in a way that will bring more value to anybody who wants to step up, and in this case, open up a center. And there were thousands of people who wanted to do that all around the world. That interview came out on a Wednesday. We were riding the high, it was unbelievable. It was reaching tons of people all around the world. On Friday, I'm sitting at dinner with some family, some friends. And I don't know what happened, because it's not something logical or with reason whatsoever in the way that it happened. But I remember I was looking at one of my friends and he said something. There was this one word that he said, and it sparked this thing, this idea, this initiative, that I saw the entire thing from beginning to end in 1 second. There was no thought to it. There was no reason to it. There was no logic to it. And all I could see was unified healing. Now, the organization that I started is called Unified World. And this thing that I saw, this vision, was an answer to how do we make sure that all these people who want to open centers around the world are going to be successful. That's one part of it. And how do we make sure that all the people that are going to go to these centers are not going to be taken advantage of? So we have to look at both sides. And I saw the solution to that again in 1 second. I didn't sleep that Friday night. I called my operations manager from the Unified World organization, and I said, Whitney, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but just hear me out. I have an idea. I gave her the whole idea from beginning to end. Unified healing, a vehicle to bring more awareness to the centers that are opening with this technology, with the energy enhancement system. If they're gonna be working with us, we're gonna cap a certain dollar amount that nobody can charge above, to make sure that on one hand, the centers can operate and be abundant and make money to continue operating, because that's the way of the world. On the other hand, everything remains affordable and accessible to all. And above all, with whatever funds are generated through this initiative, the Unified Healing Initiative, my idea at the time was, let's use that money and bring this technology to people and countries around the world that can't afford it for free. That's why I'm sitting in this chair today. That's why we're in the city of Tirupati, India today, to do just that. We would not have gotten here if people weren't ready to receive this technology. And what does this technology represent? It represents the fact that we're returning to ourselves. We're no longer sitting here and saying, okay, Big Pharma, please take our power. We're gonna take whatever you tell us to. No, we're coming back and saying we have the power to heal ourselves. That's how the energy enhancement system works, and that's why I chose to stand behind it in the first place. We work with bringing people together, and everybody contributes, and everybody spreads the word, because that's how we make a change. If you want to see a collective change in the world, it needs to be done collectively, not by one billionaire doing something. Not that that can't do great things, but my purpose, my mission is not to bring 1 or 2 or 3 people to support the world. My mission is to help the world support itself. That's how the Unified World Organization works. That's what unified healing is all about. So today, that really sort of transitioned and brought us to where I'm sitting right now, in Tirupati, India, donating a 24-unit system, the biggest whole unit that they have. Obviously, you can get a bigger unit than that if you combine and expand beyond that, but a 24-unit energy enhancement system is extremely powerful. And there was a whole chain of events that led me to this guru that brought me to this ashram. And again, that was all a whole other series of events that was really interesting and not planned. It kind of just happened, where a friend said, you should meet this person, you should meet this guru, and it's really interesting. And then I met him in somebody's home in New Jersey, and from there we connected, and we said, you know, maybe I should interview you. And then I interviewed him, and that interview is on my YouTube channel. And from there I said, wait a second, you run a very big ashram that can fit thousands of people in India. India is a country that needs a lot of help in many, many ways. Let's make India the first place that we choose to use the money in a way where we bring this technology to the people who need it most, to many people, especially in this specific city, that will never be able to afford it no matter what happens. And that's exactly what we chose to do. So today, actually, as we speak, there's a 24-unit energy enhancement system being installed in an ashram about 15 minutes away from here, in a room that could fit over 500 people simultaneously at any given time. And that room will be open to anybody at no cost to anybody whatsoever. And this is not going to be the first. This is going to be the first of many. The plan is to go all around the world and make sure that the places that need this most receive this. And individuals remember once and for all, finally, that we can return back to ourselves and heal ourselves, because that's what the body does best. You just need to be in an environment, an energetic environment specifically, that allows you to experience a coherent field of energy so the body can do what it does best, which is heal itself. I want to take a moment just to speak about Sandra for a second, because this woman somehow has become pretty much a part of my family over the past 7 months. And this woman's a genius. And that genius is why TLS approached Sandra in July of 2011. What's unique about Sandra is what happened on May 27th of 2022 when this interview came out called The Revolution of Healing, that interview that I was sent to Las Vegas to do with her. She's the second person that is pretty much allowed to share her public affiliation with the organization, share her experiences from the past. Well, when Sandra came into the mix, there was a whole other dimension that she brought with her. It was no longer somebody in his 20s sharing something that sounded crazy. It was now, you know, somebody with a lot of life experience, with a lot of knowledge, with a lot of credibility, with a lot of qualifications, that's worked with, I mean, top scientists, top agencies, top everything in this world, that was coming to share her experience and validate it as well. So I'm sharing that because I want you guys to understand the magnitude of what's happening over here. We're not just sitting and doing, you know, some documentary or making a video here. There is a lot of power behind what's going on here. All I really want to say is that I'm extremely, extremely beyond grateful for Sandra, Dr. Michael, and the work and the power and the energy that she's brought to the table. The technology that she's, I mean, graciously shared with the world, and the fact that I can have even a small piece of helping bring this technology around the world, especially to places for free that can't afford it, like where we're sitting today, it makes every single hardship over the past few years worth it.
I am Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, and I've taught holistic health for over 45 years. And out of my research in applied integrated biophysics, I invented the true bioscalar fusion technology known as the Energy Enhancement System, or the EESystem. And it's really developed for enhancing that light force and life force energy for the body. Yes, I've always known that I'm here for the healing of the world. That's my mission. It's my one purpose for being on the planet as far as I'm concerned. But I came in that way in that, my parents met in engineering physics, both of them top secret government scientists. My mother is a nuclear physicist working on the bomb, fissioning plutonium in the labs the whole time she was pregnant with me. And my dad, the electrical, mechanical, structural engineer. And he worked on Mach 3 and stealth bombers. It began with my parents meeting in engineering physics to bring that forward with all the healing energy. How the EESystem came to be from my initial work in 1978 with my scalar healing light chamber. So this was an evolution of really listening cell by cell to find out what allows maximum capacities for light and life force energy. How do you create the maximum benefit? And asking, okay, God, now how do we create the next quantum leap of consciousness for this planet? So I was asked in that meditation to create the technology after listening to so many bodies and listening to all the wisdom that everybody carries within them. How do we bring that forward? How do we call forth all that knowledge from within us and support that accelerated evolution of what's really in our DNA and our God code? But it's all about how do we take that work for the healing of mankind, for the healing of the environment. And so this was a big project as far as technology has been used in the past to disrupt, destructive, detrimental fields have been used where the body is in constant compensation, taking all its energy just to cope with a hostile environment, as we've been living in electrosmog, but radiation, and EMF, ELF, and a total polluted environment of, all the toxins in the air, the food, the water. And yet life force is so strong that we want to support that life force energy, because as we can activate the light at the core of the DNA, and as we then radiate light, nothing that is not of that light can affect us. So that's what the technology is developed for, but also to take technology that was used in the past for detrimental and destructive means to take that energy and create a total transmutation of energy into beneficial, into coherent, life force enhancing energy. Some of the side effects of scalar, it moves at superluminal velocity, which means beyond the speed of light. So that's part of what it does. It's a scalar vortex that creates coherence, which is a very, very important principle where there's coherence in the body, along with that superluminal velocity of movement. That's your cell signaling, and it's enhancing an entire environment within us and around us. So we ended up putting the technology, one of our initial systems that we began doing more research with, besides with the Tesla Society. We did research with NASA, put a system in Houston, and they were studying the effects on the DNA and found that it was repairing all the breaks in the DNA, all the genetic damage, and lengthening telomeres. Now, why is that important? Now, some of the research with the initial system was they found that there was a total neutralization or nullification of all detrimental fields, including radiation. So now we're dealing with the ionizing radiation, like from Fukushima, but radiation basically, to understand it easily, unzips the DNA. Breaks those bonds, shortens the telomeres, creates accelerated aging, so to speak. But everybody knows radiation creates our cancers and things like that. And what we're dealing with now on the planet is everybody is dealing with what's been considered, from some of the NASA physicists I've worked with, an extinction level event after Fukushima. That in itself was considered an extinction level event because the levels of radiation were so high and would create so much damage. So that unzipping of the DNA, well, with this, we're working with unified fields that puts the DNA back to its original divine matrix, its original divine design. And they found it was putting the DNA back and lengthening the telomeres, so that's true age reversal. But it's just by giving the body the energy that it relates to heal anything and everything, because the power that made the body heals the body. So I've been working with, how do you plug the body back into that cosmic light socket? Universal unlimited power on. And how do you charge every cell of the body as quickly and easily as you recharge your cell phone? It's like a whole body charger. Wireless transmission, because, scalar is a wireless transmission. And that release of charge gives all this energy that the body relates to as hyper healthy energy that it understands what to do with. And the body grabs the energy, gets excited. Literally, it's cellular excitation as it's activating the light within us. It started with research with the Tesla Society, and so John Orva was one of the top researchers from the Pentagon who was brought to meet me. He was the head of science for the Pentagon, Skunk Works, Phantom Works, things like that. And he came in with a $100,000 oscilloscope to measure fields and explain what he was seeing and what it meant. And he found that it was a total nullification or neutralization of the detrimental fields, creating coherence, but creating that true 0 point energy where it was nullifying, but also releasing all this beneficial energy, a total transmutation of detrimental fields into beneficial. So he explained how that works, but he also explained how it had carried the energy of bone regeneration and the bone healing energies, and he saw that. And also talked about how we're colliding photons and creating something called photonic fusion. Again, talking about that cold nuclear fusion type event, but photonic fusion, where that's part of what occurs in the body. So another physicist I worked with, Panos Pappas, found that what occurs in the body is actually cold fusion. So we're working with that natural energy that's in the body, although this is the real suppressed science, so to speak. This is not, what you're going to find in physics schools, because this is the quantum physics. It's your biophysics, and it's that high level of physics. So I've worked with all these top scientists, and he explained how that works and what that means with that photonic fusion. And with fusion, there's a release of active hydrogen and active oxygen. So with that, you've got some of the cellular mechanisms of action being created, in that you've got your ultimate oxygen therapy, where it's releasing the active oxygen in the body to fully oxygenate the cells, to fully oxygenate the organs, and particularly to oxygenate the brain. Because part of what radiation does is ionizes the brain. So then you've got that reduction of IQs. Well, it wasn't that I'm a genius. I wanted to trigger everybody's genius. And that right-left brain synchronization and whole brain thinking. So this is one of the first things it does, we found with the research, is that right-left brain synchronization, back to 0 point, back to that energy of pulling the body out of fear reaction patterns, pulling the body out of what's, to put the body basically back in homeostasis, in dynamic homeostasis, where it's that continual reorganization to higher levels of function, but putting the body, the brain, back in balance. And every part of the body wants to be in balance. So it's giving the energy that reminds the body how to do that. It's really back to Tesla's work that went through the planet, working with the grids within the planet, around the planet, to generate these fields of consciousness. That's all about alignment with true, best, and highest potential. it's our exponential as a planet and as a species, as far as how do we live our highest potential? How do we create energy on the planet that we would have in an ideal world? So that's what we've tried to create with the technology. So there's a lot of things that got layered in. It's dense intentional informational fields. You've got the photonic aspect, where we're colliding photons. You've got the scalar aspect, which is very, very important. There's all the benefits of grounding, for example, that's putting the body back. There's a predominance of the Schumann resonance because you need to be very grounded, or what's called earthing, and you can look up that research, obviously, but that's the body's natural timing pulse. But it also relates to ideal optimal brain states. And, so some of the research I did with John Orva, because he was considered the top brain researcher on the planet, and president of Biophysics Research Association and things like that. So we found that people could go to a deeper meditational state than a Tibetan monk in approximately 7 minutes. Really, really powerful, ideal, optimal meditation states. That's part of the main intentionality of the technology. However, it's in alignment with true best and highest potential. But when you're in that place of balance and alignment, then you're no longer at effect. In that place of balance, you're able to affect everything. So it's a very effective technology in that brings you to that place where you're no longer taking all your energy just to cope, but instead you have access to that power and light and love within you that allows you to affect everything around you. In those ideal optimal brain states, you might let yourself know what God wants you to know, but you're breathing light, literally breathing light, photons, quantums of light through every cell and every part of you, letting every cell know and remember the power of that truth and the love, the light, the eternal light of eternal life that's within us.
Hi, I'm Michael Scaler. I'm the CEO of Energy Enhancement System, or as most of you know it, EESystem. I'm the son of the inventor and founder, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. I've been working with her since I was 16, and for reference, I'm just past 39, so quite a while. It's been my pleasure to watch the technology both evolve and then spread like wildfire through the planet, with obviously the thanks of Jason and his team. It's been my pleasure to provide humanity with my mom's life work, and I'm just so happy that everyone else out there can experience what we think is one of the most profound technologies on the planet. So the technology is quite intricate in general, but simple at the same time. The basic scalar theory is opposing electromagnetic fields create a cancellation effect or phase conjugate wave pairs. This is the part that normally goes over people's heads, but you could think about it as two negative things colliding and making a positive. It's a transformational collision of energy that creates a kind of implosion, explosion that creates scalar fields. With the scalar fields being the hot buzzword typically, there's actually a plethora of different things going on with the technology. So we're utilizing scalar fields, and then we are embedding on those with other things like biophotonics, which the layman's term would be color therapy. And then what you're seeing scrolling on the screen is actually what we call cellular communication. We're actually trying to talk to your body, talk to your mind, all spheres of your existence to optimize and be better at whole. If you can reach a higher level of anything, then you continue to ascend towards higher and greater things. Obviously, the color therapy side of things is quite simple, quite old, but we're combining it with a bunch of different things that make it more conducive to all things being healthy in the body. And I like to say body, mind, and spirit, because everything as a sphere is very important to focus on. When you focus on just one thing, then sometimes things become out of balance. And with the technology, we see that all things come into balance, which is really the most important part, is balance. And that's ultimately what we're trying to achieve. The technology, while it's creating the scalar fields, is also throwing photons or light, which is coming off the screens. People ask, why are the screens there? Well, we're using those to generate biophotonics. And then the fun thing is with the collision of photons, you get really unique effects. We're not speeding anything up here, but we are colliding photons, which creates its own little unique phenomenon that's basically cutting edge physics even now to this very day. That is literally the top tier of physics, is collision of photons. So we're doing that on a small, non-sped up scale, creating our own little mini God particles. That's part of the magic with the technology. When it comes to uptake from the body of the technology, your skin is the largest organ. So people go, do I need my eyes open? And you really don't. To absorb color and light, your body will uptake it. So with the color, your skin is fine, and no, you don't need to get naked. I constantly get asked this. You can go out in the sun with a long sleeve and still catch vitamin D just off of your face and your hands. It's a similar concept to photosynthesis with the color therapy and the technology. Obviously, if your eyes are open, you're going to absorb some of that. But when your eyes are closed, you are actually internalizing energy and you're reserving energy. Sometimes it's better to really close your eyes, go deep, meditate, find peace within yourself while you're in an optimal, healthy environment. So our technology does not heal, cure, prevent, treat anything, but the body is designed to heal itself from anything and everything. So if my favorite analogy is cellular millivoltage. A healthy cell is 70 to 90 millivolts. If you measure a cancerous cell, it is below 20, typically between 10 and 20 millivolts. If you can raise the millivoltage in your body, in your cells, you can reverse disease. You can improve many functions of the body, because the body is electric in nature. So if you can increase just a small portion of percentage of energy in your mind alone, your mind controls the different aspects of all your body, chemicals, things like that. If you can increase the energy in your thyroid or your liver, your kidneys, you're going to see a profound difference in your general well-being. So we don't take an approach at attacking a certain thing or providing a frequency range to a certain area or thing. We are a true holistic experience, and where we're just giving every part of your body more energy to function fully and optimally. Well, I mean, a lot of the research is showing oxygenation in the blood, which is really easy to show. So obviously, if you're getting energy on a large scale, it's going to show up through multiple different biofunctions. So we've shown DNA repair, increased oxygenation of blood, which then also leads to declumping of the blood. When all the body's little tiny mitochondrial type functions start kicking in, first thing the body typically does is start to clean house. So you see an increased dump of toxins into the bloodstream, which then are manifest as things leaving the body. Sweating, urination are great, but obviously salt baths, the skin being the largest organ again, start pull things out of the skin. That's why when people go into a direct detox reaction, they tend to start sweating, is because the body's just trying to dump stuff. So that occurs with the technology, and you see that. And with, again, my favorite thing with the technology is activity in the brain. When we do EEGs and show more activity in the brain, if you just used 1 to 2% more of your brain on a daily basis, your ability to comprehend the general things in the world will expand so significantly. Spirituality is really just a connection with God that increases the activity in the hemispheres. I mean, when you show people meditating, you see an increased activity in different brain waves. So I really love the fact that the technology is increasing electrical activity in the brain. It really is the most groundbreaking thing to me, because I think if people got smarter on the planet, we'd have a better planet. And currently we have AI dumbing down society, and I like to think of the technology as AE, artificial evolution. Everyone needs a little kickstart to becoming a better person, whether that's finding a guru, meditating, yoga, using our technology. So I'd like to hope that more technologies like ours come out in the world that actually help people evolve on all levels. We've shown enhancement in general things from just minutes with, we've done EEG, Kirlian, different things, just minutes. There's a profound effect that's measurable. It's recommended that people spend a minimum of an hour, optimally roughly 2 hours in any system. And then people ask, well, how many times should I go back? And you can never have enough good energy. You go to the gym, do you want to be really fit? And it's cumulative. The gym is a perfect example of that. Do you want to be really fit, or do you want to just do enough to get by so that you don't turn into Jabba the Hutt? It's really just people's preference, their time in the day. But your health is your priority. Your health is your wealth. You can never be too healthy. As the CEO of the company, I don't like to talk about any specific names, but I've seen miracles across the board with things that the Western world has no standard operating procedure for, neurological, degenerative diseases across the board. We've seen profound results. It can only help with just about everything, but I don't like to promote the technology as a magic bullet by any means, and a lot of people hear things that we say and then they think a certain way. And I'd like people to just come into the system, have their own experience. They can go out and talk about it. Well, it's really great to see the technology in a place where people are already coming for spiritual work. They're going to come, they're going to close their eyes, they're going to say mantras or sing mantras, they're going to meditate. They're coming here to have a communication with God. And when you create a healthy environment, I believe that you can communicate with yourself and God and the universe more fluidly and more cohesively. So it's a profound piece of technology for anyone who wants to expand. And obviously anything spiritual would be the expansion of said consciousness, the connection with their higher self. I think the two in combination, the technology's energy enhancement system. Meditation is a technology and it's going to enhance that. So anything that people are going to do that are expand and ascend, try and reach higher levels is going to be exponential. So I would love to see the technology in more spiritual places. I'd love to see the technology in places where people are evolving, like schools. That's probably the most important thing, would be for it to be in schools. If kids had more electrical activity in the brain, for instance, their ability to cognate and obtain and maintain different knowledge that they're getting would be massive. I mean, imagine raising a whole generation of superhumans instead of kids that are on their phone TikToking. It would be like a complete 180, and I think it would be magical. Well, I see the technology as something that creates a charge of energy around people that come use it. And so when one person comes in here, maybe they'll have a profound effect on themselves and their energy will be greater. And when they go speak to people and talk to people, that energy will rub off and create a 100th monkey kind of thing, in where it's like a light torch being passed as each person who's interacted with it passes on a little. I mean, if everyone in a certain day went around and smiled to the next person, they smiled to the next person, that would cause a butterfly effect of happiness. This is a similar kind of concept on an energetic level. So I'm hoping with 500 people possibly being in here a day, that they will go out and spread the energy. And I'm hoping that more and more people will come in here and have their own little experience. Whether they know they're having an experience or not, it doesn't matter. Consciously, subconsciously, the energy flows and it goes where it needs to go. And so us being here in a remote place in Tirupati, India, where there is no system, I'm hoping that it spreads. And whether it makes it to every household in India or not doesn't really matter, as long as we're having a profound effect on the world, which is the whole point of a humanitarian mission. Is I hope that we have a profound effect, that it changes lives, and I think we will here. I think it's only starting. We'll go into some more areas of the world where the technology hasn't reached yet, and then we'll just keep passing that torch.
आणि ती इंडियामध्ये इथे फर्स्ट टाइम तिरुपतीमध्ये इथे एस्टॅब्लिश झाली आहे. तर माझा एक सगळ्यांना रिक्वेस्ट आहे, जे काही आजारी लोक आहेत, डिप्रेशनमध्ये गेले असतील किंवा अजून काही प्रॉब्लेम असतील, मतिमंद वगैरे असे जे लोक असतील, किंवा ज्यांना वेळेचे झटके वगैरे आलेले, डिप्रेशनमध्ये जाऊन काही गोष्टी करतात, तर त्या लोकांना तुम्ही घेऊन इकडे या आणि ह्या टेक्नॉलॉजीचं बेनिफिट घ्या. मी तुम्हाला एवढं सांगते का खरं एवढी टेक्नॉलॉजी चांगली का तुम्ही जे निगेटिव्ह थॉट्स आहे किंवा ती निगेटिव्ह एनर्जी आहे, जे रोगराई आहे, ती सगळी तुमची एकदम क्लीन होऊन जाईल आणि वेगळंच एक नवीन जीवन घेऊन तुम्ही इथून बाहेर पडाल. आता इथे एक सुरू झाली आहे, सँड्रा मॅडमने जे केलं आहे ते ग्रेट आहे. ते एक म्हणजे सगळ्या ब्लेसिंग आहे एक देवाचा आशीर्वादच तुम्ही समजा आणि जे इथे येतील ते लकी आहेत असं मी समजेल. ज्याने काही आयुष्यात काही पुण्याचं काम केलं आहे त्यांना हे ब्लेसिंग मिळेल. तर मी तुम्हाला सगळ्यांना हात जोडून विनंती आहे का तुम्ही ह्या टेक्नॉलॉजीचा जास्तीत जास्त वापर करून घ्या आणि तुमच्या आजूबाजूला जे लोक असतील.
Jai Gurudev. My name is Ramesh Shankla and I'm the president of Sri Siddheshwar Tirth Brahmarshi Ashram, Tirupati. What really impressed me when first time I impressed into this particular place was the simplicity of the place, the purity of the place, and the sheer energy, the presence of energy in this particular place. And one of those very, very important things which has happened in the last probably 4 days is energy enhancement system, which we have put in our meditation center. Now, this is the system which has been donated by Dr. Sandra, who is an inventor and has been installed in our Dhyan Mandir, which is basically a meditation center. And I just wanted to experience that, I sat through this for an hour and a half, other day. And the most remarkable thing which happened was because I'm also a practitioner of transcendental meditation for a very, very long time, And one of the things when you sit in the meditation, you don't know from where all kinds of thoughts, the thoughts which are 20 years old, 25 years old, all kinds of memory shoots back, and then it is so difficult for you to settle down. Sometimes it happens instantly. Sometimes it can never happen even for 2 hours and 3 hours. But trust me, when I sat through this grid of EESystem, it was amazing. Within 7 minutes, I was into deep, deep meditation because I've experienced extremely deep meditation. And what otherwise I would have taken probably 2 hours or 3 hours in a very, very, after practicing very intensely for say around 10 or 15 days, I could achieve this in just a matter of 7 or 10 minutes. And for next 1.5 hours, I was even finding it extremely difficult even to come out of that, It was something like a very, very deep rest. And probably at this kind of a rest, probably could be equivalent to 6 or 7 hours of sleeping, So this is a very remarkable experience, and I also happened to speak to the people who went all the way to US to take the treatment of this, and they had a very remarkable, results. One of them was going through a typical non-curable eye disease, which was from the birth, and the gentleman had a very remarkable turnaround. Now he can see all the letters and he can read and write. And he says that after sitting through this, it was a rebirth for him. Imagine, not to have an eyesight and restored back after every other doctor has told you that nothing can be done about it, So this is something very remarkable. I've been talking to everybody in this ashram. I said, you must go and experience this. And I must tell you, 70% of the people has come back and told me, Ramesh, it was an amazing experience,
During our visit to Tirupati, the ashram community prepared for a night-long festival known to the world as Shivaratri, one of the most significant spiritual events in India. We were invited to be a part of it. The day unfolded with purification rituals and pujas to help prepare the mind, body, and spirit, cleansing the devotee of negativity, limitations, and illusions. The highly charged energy of community, ceremony, and devotion was an inspirational and energizing experience we were honored to witness at this level. Water offerings to the Shiva Lingam represents the union of the soul with consciousness. Fire pujas were symbolic offerings that not only purifies one's spirit, but encourages positive changes in one's life. By nightfall, thousands of devotees fill the space to absorb all the energy of Shivaratri and await for Gurudev to come give his blessings. Pujas continue to be performed where each element used has a deep spiritual significance and function to cleanse the spirit. As Gurudev placed sandalwood paste from the Shiva Lingam on our foreheads, we felt the blessings of our work and the work we still have yet to do around the world with the Energy Enhancement System technology. We were charged by the experience, feeling purified, energized, and ready to carry on our mission to the rest of the world.
So how do we change the world? How do we make this world the world that we deserve to live in once and for all? Without the darkness, without the poverty, without the starvation, without the corruption, without the greed. But a world that looks like a united world, a healthy world, a world of light, of peace, and of love. Step one is taking action. It's beyond just words. It may start with an intention that you state, but we need to take action if we want to see a change in the world. I see and hear a lot of people saying all the time, I'm only one person, what can I really do? Well, there have been individuals that have made huge changes in the world. And you can be one of those individuals as well. What we need to begin to remember is that we're each a piece of a major puzzle. And no matter how small or big that piece is, if we all don't do our part, this world will not change. So I ask you all to do your part, whatever that part may be. If it's opening a center with the Energy Enhancement System technology, and if you don't do that, there are a million other things that you can do. Help a child in need, help a person in need, support somebody who needs love, support somebody who needs direction in their life. So long as you're doing something to bring value to the world, you are a part of fulfilling that puzzle and making that puzzle whole again, which will lead us into the world that we deserve to live in. So I ask each and every one of you, what are you going to do today to make this world a better place? And I want to make it very, very clear that what you've seen us do here in India is not for us, it's for the world. What you've seen us do here today is to inspire the rest of the world to do the same in their own way, in your own unique and creative way. And I can guarantee and promise each and every one of you one thing. This is the beginning of something huge. It's starting in India. We will be traveling the world. And in our case, bringing the Energy Enhancement System technology to as many places as we can around the world for free. So I want to leave you all off with one question. What are you going to do? What action are you going to take today to make this world a better place?